Hello everyone and welcome to the Deep Blue Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deep Blue Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 37. Today is Tuesday, April 8th, and I haven't had nearly enough coffee yet. This is only my second cup for the day, so um, welcome. It is looking like it's going to be a pretty nice day today. And I'm actually impressed at how nice the lighting is right now. It's what, 9:30? So I've had a lovely morning of drinking my cup of coffee and catching up on some podcasts and all that other stuff. But I figured it was time to record. So here we are in my living room. So let's see. I could launch into song, but I think I'll spare you guys. I am working on 2 knitting projects right now, and I haven't finished anything this week. But that is because Hallelujah is the sweater that never ends. I realized last night as I was casting off for the sleeve that that was the 6th time that I've cast off on the sweater so far, and that I still have to cast off 4 more times before I'm done. So crazy making, but I really would like to have it finished soon because it looks like I'm going to be embarking on a crazy pants project very soon. So Hallelujah is a pattern by Melissa of Single Handed Knits. Her alias on Ravelry is Emsky Knits. And I am knitting this out of the mustache yarn Helva, which is a light fingering that comes in whatever. It has, 750 yards per 150 gram skein, so quite generous. And this is where I am so far. I can't even see. So I have finished adding the, the copycat pattern to the sleeves. I decided to knit them in the round, and it's very stretchy. I decided to knit them in the round, and I have actually used up all of my first ball of yarn. So I'd finished, it was just the ball they kept giving, so I did all of this one, and then about half of this one using this stupid ball of yarn. It didn't seem like it was possible. And what was I talking to you guys last about? I think last week I had decided that the sleeves were, in fact, the appropriate size. So I decided to go ahead and continue on with the sweater. And then I'm wondering, too, where I was at. Was I still working on the body or not? I don't know. Or maybe I had finished the body and then I was moving on to the sleeves. I don't remember. But it continues on. I think this last stage will be the least amount of time. And I'm changing the pattern a little bit. What I've decided to do is do 1x1 rib instead of the 2x2 rib that's called for in the pattern, and I'm changing out the buttonholes. So it's looking to me like it's not going to be, my worry was that if the sweater was really tight, if I had little buttons, then it wouldn't really hold together, but when I hold the button, or I hold the sweater where it's supposed to be, it pretty easily goes to where I want it to be, so I think I'm good there. It's this adventure in negative ease, which I'm not really not really used to. So I still have quite a lot of yarn left. This second skein has hardly been touched at all, and all I need to do is ribbing over everything. So so the sweater actually calls for you to pick up around the edge after you finish the main part of the body. Um, and then the sleeves are last, and it's something where you knit it flat, and then you're supposed to knit the entire length of the sleeve flat, but I didn't do that. So then I knit it flat, I seamed it together. I then picked up in the round to do the copycat stitch, because that seems to be what it was actually meant to be. And then then you seam everything together, and then you pick up and do ribbing off the sleeve. So I'm gonna do an inch of 1x1 rib. I think I'm just gonna do regular 1x1 rib, probably. And I probably need to do it on 2s or 1.5s or something. Well, I might do the sleeves in 1.5 and the rest on 2s, but I probably want to have a smaller needle size for the ribbing, because it is, because I like the way that looks. And probably before I pick up, I'm gonna fix my wonky looking mattress stitch. I haven't done mattress stitch in over a year, it seems, because they're sort of sloppy looking. Like, I don't even know if you can tell how sloppy they are. So before I pick up all the way around, I'm going to have to do that, or maybe I'll procrastinate a little bit and start the sleeves. Not sure. But it is coming along, and it just seems like it's the sweater that never ends, so. I totally thought I was going to finish 2 weeks ago, so I don't know. Such is life. So, coming together, it'll be done sometime soon, and it'll be perfect for spring wear, so that's exciting. The other thing I'm working on, it's not going to look like I've done much, and the reason for that is, what is it? So I think last week I was preparing to rip it out because I needed to find a way to make the Marie socks work for my husband's chicken legs. And we have hit upon a solution. The solution is to knit on 2mm needles. And while it's not trivial for him to slip it over his massive heel, it did seem to work, and that was close enough for me, because I think the only way that you get the right fit in your leg on a colorwork sock is because it has to be like a little bit hard to get it over your heel. And it was definitely a much better thing for there. So this is what it's looking like now. I'm actually a little bit further than when I was last week. And I decided to switch out the black cuff for a red cuff, and I just omitted the Baltic braid. And I think what ended up happening with the Baltic braid was I followed the instructions exactly, and that my Baltic braid looked pretty much like the Baltic braid in the pattern, but it didn't look very much like, like a Latvian braid normally does. So I'm not sure, like, I don't think I have any patterns that I could check and make sure that the instructions for the Baltic braid were, made sense. Maybe in Barbara Walker's Folk Socks book or something like that, there might be a Baltic braid in that, and I can check and make sure. But at this point, I'm not going to be ripping this back again. So I have one repeat of the chart done, and I'm a little bit into the second repeat. I'm only, the pattern only calls for you to do, 1.5 repeats of the leg chart before you start into the instep and the heel and all that other stuff. And it's a no pickup heel, so you are forming the flap as you go, which is sort of interesting. So what this probably means is that I'm going to make a longer heel for the massive heel my husband has, but progress has been made because it fits now, and that is a good thing. And this is the Maritz pattern by Stephanie van der Linden. I am using 2 yarns. The red is Fiber Webs, which is a local dyer to the San Francisco Bay Area. I got this yarn in a swap. I don't think it's my oldest yarn I've gotten in a swap. And then the black is Kretzer On Your Toes with aloe vera. And I've used this Kretzer before because I used it for my blue butterfly socks, and I also used it for a pair of cinch that I ended up sending away to a swap partner. So, like for $11 for 100 gram skein, it was a ridiculous value, but it's okay yarn. I don't know. Maybe I've become high-faulted in my taste, I'm not sure. But I have it and it needs to get used up. Oh, that was what I wanted to show you guys. So you know that like massive diffuse ball of yarn that I had? When I ripped, I rewound the skein, so it's no longer the size of my head. And the Fiber Webs is definitely a much finer yarn, but I think it ends up looking really good on the pattern. Like, so I'm excited with how it's turning out. And it's a lot of fun to knit. It's just a lot of fun to knit. So I'm glad that I restarted and everything's working, because it was going to be really hard to make it work otherwise. Like basically making the pattern as a cinch sort of thing, and there's a limit to my love. Now, so I'm waiting for two things. So I am participating in the Imagine It or Woolmisa swap and knit along. I ended up sending off my skein of Fritzi Frizzante to a lovely raveler. I also got to like go to the local yarn shop and touch all of the things and look at all of the bags and stuff like that. It was a little crazy making because my swap partner was a shawl and sweater knitter, and it's sort of the case where she has a nice stash. So that sort of ended up closing the door to like a yarn purchase. So I ended up finding a really good size project bag. It fit the entire skein of Woolmisa lace inside of it. And if it was wound, I bet you could do skein of Woolmisa lace and a project in it. So I was really happy. It was a lantern moon bag, and it was green with little leaves on it. It was really cute. Because I figure many people appreciate project bags, so even though I just have the one bag to roll them all. And I'm waiting for my swap partner to send me my package. And when my swap partner sends the package, and I finish Halalea, that's why I really need to finish Halalea this week, because I'm probably going to need my Xiaogu interchangeable cable. So I need to receive my package with my skein of yarn, and I need to take a photo of my already wound ball of yarn. So this is the oldest skein of Woolmisa lace in my stash, and it looks blue on the screen right now, but that's a lie. Let me bring it closer. So yeah, you can see everything now. So this is a combination of blues, purples, and just a hint of teal. My first skein of Woolmisa was a colorway M. Colton Polar, because my mother-in-law showed a picture of her Woolmisa stash, and I was like, ooh, that one. So I hadn't realized at the time what a large request I was making to get a skein of multi-lace. Oh, so I ended up getting that skein, and I made a pooling stole, and I also made a hat out of the yarn. I pretty much used the entire thing. There's like a little teeny weeny small ball floating around in my Woolmisa scraps. And this is a weird different colorway, but I'm pretty sure it's the same as M. Colton Polar. I do have another skein now in the twin for whenever I start knitting wool-mica socks for myself again. Actually, I'm wearing wool-mica socks today. um, so I'm going to be knitting the Strand Wanderer, which was a birthday present. Yay! So I am, what is it? So I'm not sure how much yarn it ends up taking. I need to use at least 150 grams of this, and this I believe was a 340 gram skein, so 15% more than the label that should have been in it. So it's pretty heavy. And I managed to get it all nicely wound and all that other stuff. So I'm ready to go. All I need to do is take a picture of the items I got in my package with my yarn, and I can start. And then I will do this crazy project. So this will count for the oldest anything cal. This is my oldest skein of wool-mica. I have, I'm going to have the newer skein, which I got on the swap, and I also have the blue skein, which I got a few weeks ago. And what is it? So, pretty fun. And I'm really excited to start that, but I'm waiting. So next week, hopefully, I'll be able to show you what I ended up getting in the swap and all that other fun stuff. It's a really cool group to be a part of, so it's exciting that I get to do that. Okay, that is done. So that's what's coming up. Is definitely going to be a Strand Wanderer. If I coincidentally finish the socks, I'll probably start the socks for my grandpa. But for now, it is probably going to take a good deal of my knitting time in order to get that much lace knit. Whatever. I think the deadline for the cal is sometime in June. I'm sure the rules will come out at some point, or they're somewhere. I just haven't looked for them yet. But sometime in June it's over. So if I want to have a chance to win a skein of wool-mica lace of one of the 3 colorways I pick, I need to do it. And it turned out my swap partner was the one who won the skein the first year that we did it, which was 2012. I skipped out on 2013 because I wasn't willing to swap out any of my things of lace. And I don't think that my lace has changed since then, but I decided I really wanted to do it again this year because it's a lot of fun. So that's the story there. So I guess I should launch into spinning. I finished something. I know that Jordan and Allison were maybe poking a little bit of fun of me. At long last, I have finished the Fat Cat Knits Variegated BFL in the Let's Go Crazy colorway. Oh, I was going to reskein this, oh well. So I now have 2 skeins of matching sock yarn for my knitting of handspun socks. And I'll have to recheck the links on these, but so for this one with the white tags, this was the first one I skeined. I took from September 26th to December 16th or something like that to spin this. And I got about 350 yards. For this one, I started this, I believe, sometime in January. Yeah, so I started this sometime in January. I finished it, when did I finish this? I don't remember. I finished it this week. Someday. So I must have finished it Friday, because it was still, I gave it its bath Friday night, it was still a little bit damp when I ended up showing my mother-in-law on Saturday. So this is 255 yards, so far, far less yardage, and I'm not entirely sure why. So I'm curious if I rescan it if I just had like massive counting fails while I was scanning this, or massive counting fails while I was scanning this. They're definitely different sizes for sure, because I didn't split them evenly in half. They're just sort of close. But it just seems strange that I would have 100 less yards. So I found that to be weird. So, but it is done. It is very well balanced. I'm just gonna have coffee. So it's very well balanced. And well, no, it's twisting 1.5 times. I'm not sure why that is. It's just all sorts of fun and interesting colors there. I would say what's interesting was when I got the fiber, it just looked so bright and vibrant, but now that it's Navajo plied on itself, it's definitely much more muted than I had originally thought it would be. And of course there are whatever bright sections in this as well, but overall it's a very chill skein, and it smells of the soak. So probably what I'm gonna have to do today, if I find some time, is rescan it and verify the count on the yardage, because it just didn't seem quite right to me that it would be so much less. And then I'm not sure when I'm actually going to get around to knitting this, because it is because there seem to be a couple of things that I need to do before I get around to it. So, yay! I'm pretty excited that it's finally done. So that was like 7.5 months of spinning. And so what would that be? So if it really was 350 and 250, that would mean that I spun 600 yards of a 3-ply, which means that I had spun 1,800 yards of 1,800 yards of singles out of the 6 ounces. So quite a bit of spinning there. And hopefully I don't have nearly as much for my current project. So what I have on the spindle now is the fiber optic gradient. Which is from Kimber of Fiber Optic Yarns. And I have the indigo to emerald gradient. So this was a 80% merino, 20% silk blend, and it goes from emerald to forest green to teal to blue, and then at the very end it's that indigo, that purpley blue sort of color. And so after talking with my mother-in-law, because I'm spinning it for her, we decided to go ahead and do a 2-ply. So we have emerald. Oh, the color is so wrong on that. We have emerald, forest green, teal, blue, and then there's quite a bit of blue in this, sort of hard to see there. And then at the very end is an indigo color, which I'm pretty sure the camera is not going to be able to pick up. Indigo is one of the colors which isn't included in the RGB spectrum of a computer, which means that there isn't really a good way to represent it digitally. Isn't that crazy? So because there isn't really a good way to represent it digitally, it ends up not really showing up well on computers and all that other fun stuff. So I'm pretty sure you can't see the emerald, but it's or sorry, not the emerald, the indigo, but it is there, I swear. And so I ended up splitting this in half and rebraiding it and pre-drafting it and all that other fun stuff. I ended up pre-drafting it in the dark in the car because we were driving back from Bloomington this weekend. So this is a somewhat dark version of what it looks like. And this is the second half, which I haven't started to spin yet. I did get to start spinning it. I am past the emerald, and I am in the forest green now. And this is how it's spinning up so far. So I think it's coming out pretty nice. And then I'm definitely in the forest green section at the moment. And the goal is to get a 2-ply fingering. Which, if you come on here. So I'm thinking I'm somewhere around there. She wants to do a what is it? My mother-in-law wants to do a Mobius cowl with it, which seems pretty interesting, and then she'll be able to use every bit of the gradient as possible. So I think it's going to be really fetching when it's done. But since it is going to be lacy, and I've heard that what is it? 2-ply is the best type of construction for lace. That's what I ended up deciding to do. And then this is what the ball looks like right now. So in not too long, I'll be getting into the teal. I think I've finally completely covered the emerald with the forest green. So coming along. It still seems like there's an awful lot of fiber left. At least this time it's 2-ounce sections instead of 3-ounce sections. So I'm spinning this end to end, and then I'm going to ply it together at the end. And so far so good. I guess my hope and wish is that I can finish this in time for the oldest anything Cal. So, because I'm spinning along with you guys. And this is my oldest obligation project. So I have a couple of obligation projects which I need to do. And it's the case where back sometime in January, my sister had made a request for a headband. She still wants it, but I haven't knit it yet. And my grandpa is deserving of more socks, so I need to knit him socks. And my husband, sometime around Christmas, had asked for the Marit socks. So I'm working on that now, but there's still a couple more obligations that I need to get off my plate. And I find that the springtime is the best time to do obligation projects for me, just because I don't know, it's just the case for what it be. I would say that sometime in March I tend to buy fibery things, and then sometime, I guess, like after my birthday or whatever, then I want to be like, okay, I'm going to finish all of the things I had been intending to do but hadn't gotten around to yet. So those would definitely count as that sort of thing. So coming along. So you get to hear about a new fiber, at least for a little while. And I would say what it'd be. So fiber optic was the fiber that I actually learned how to draft on. And I ended up getting the, what is it, the Rouge, what would it be? The Rouge Violet Cerulean gradient. And that was a part of the Knit Girls Spin Along however long ago. So I learned how to draft. So it's really nice to be able to work with it again. There's just something sort of interesting about what happens when you have a significant amount of silk content in the yarn. It just drafts in a very different way than just pure wool would. And I definitely have some silk blends in the stash, which I would love to get around to spinning. And this is also, or this fiber is also a part of the Completely Twisted and Arbitrary Spin the Bin Challenge. I know that Laura of the Knit Girls has talked about the Spin the Bin Challenge. She still hasn't posted her bin. Such nonsense. So it's the case where I threw this into the bin because I knew that it was an obligation project that needed to get done. Oh, and the second skein of this also counted for the Spin the Bin project. You had to have lots that were at least 2 ounces, so I now have 2 bin spins done and 1 now started, so that's good. And then, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you like to see it, I will be, the remaining fiber in my bin is the chocolate Shetland fleece. So, if I am to stay on target for bin spins, what would that mean? I think I'm actually pretty far behind. Like, I think I need to, so I have, whatever, 12 entries or something like that. So one of my first entry was the Fat Cat Knits. I think my second entry was this, which would mean that I was intending to finish that in January and this in February, and obviously now it's April. And then I had like 30 ounces. Maybe it's not really. I think I have 33 total ounces of that, and I've spun 4 of that, so now I have 28, which would mean I have 14 more spins left to do, which would mean I'd have to be spinning more than 2 skeins a month in order to finish, I think. I don't know, don't trust my math right now, but I think I would have to spin a skein every 2 weeks, which for 2 ounces is probably not that bad, but it would require me to be spinning very regularly. And I tend to use podcasts as my entertainment while spinning. I ended up spinning most of the Emerald actually while watching The Matrix because I really wanted to watch The Matrix. Sunday night? Yeah, Sunday night, so. So that is the story there. So I have a lot left to do in my bin, but it's definitely coming together. So I don't know if it would ended up being a realistic goal to say that I was going to be spinning 30 ounces of fleece and and then 7 more ounces of commercially prepared fiber, but I'm trying. It might end up taking a lot more concerted effort and paying attention and that sort of thing. Be like, okay, got that off, need to get the next thing on, that sort of thing. And I did end up getting some mail last week. I think this had actually come in on Tuesday or something, so then after I podcasted, obviously. No, it came in on weekday. I think it probably actually came in on Wednesday. Because it was, it ended up getting brought into the house. So I ended up getting the first shipment of the Nest Fiber Club, and this is what we're talking about here. So this is the Fiber Club. Apparently my friend Jen is pretty jealous that she didn't decide to sign up. I think, what is it, it's a little bit crazy making, when it's the case where like, oh, I'm not spending that much, why would I be in a club? And then after you start to see the colors, like, crap. So if the opportunity comes up to buy more, apparently I need to help her out. And so what's going on here is this is an interesting combination. I don't think I probably would have chosen it on my own. It is 4 ounces of Falkland, and this appears to be pretty soft. It didn't come braided, I actually braided it myself. just to keep it all contained and to maybe get a better sense of what's going on here. So apparently the lighting is pretty far off at the moment, and I'm not sure how I'm to fix that. I think the sun's in the clouds or something like that. So this has purples, like a really light lime green, gold, this like russety orange, what else? And then the purple is a little bit broken, so it has bits of blue in it as well. Blue and red. So it's really very pretty. It looks like the fiber prep is awesome on this. I've only heard good things about, I've only heard good things about Nest, so it appears that, oops, apparently that was the direction that I had braided it in. Okay, so we'll go in the direction. There we go. You go in the right direction. So what's interesting about how this was dyed, which is why I'm unbraiding it at the moment, is that they're actually repeats in the colors. So what I'm wondering is, in terms of spinning it, what I'm going to do exactly. And I'm not even sure if I'm going to be getting around to this year, which, I don't know, whatever. So what's interesting here is that there are repeats in the colors. So if we line this up correctly, then you end up seeing that there is a repeat here, and maybe it's not perfectly aligned, but then you end up also getting like a repeat along these lines here, where you have this sort of thing going here. And obviously enough, it's not perfect, but so it's very interesting how these colors keep on coming up and up again. So I don't know if it's the case where it would be interesting to spin this more as a gradient, or something else. But obviously I think I'm going to end up doing something. But it's definitely an interesting question of like what I'm going to do based on the way the colors fall, how I'm going to spin it. So it might be interesting to actually split it in half or something like that, and like look at how much fiber there is. But I just found it to be fascinating how everything came together. And it ended up just coming sort of squished into the bag. So I'm probably just going to squish it back into the bag at this point. But it was very interesting to see whatever this color combination, how it's coming together. And I'm sort of looking at it in terms of it's a very, like it's definitely what it means. So it's out of my comfort zone. And it seems to be an interesting challenge to me. So that's cool. And sorry about all the crinkling, but such is life. So this will end up getting, so I already took the photo at this point, and now it's just a matter of putting it up with the other fiber in my stash. So, but it's very interesting, it's very different. So we'll see what ends up coming of it. So there you go, stash positions. Is there anything else I wanted to talk to you guys about? Oh, I also ended up picking up at my local yarn store some size 0 needles from Haya Haya. So I really like the Haya Haya circular needles, so I just get the little 16-inch guys. So I bought one because I knew I destroyed one sometime probably 2 years ago or something like that. Like it got shut in the door and it was destroyed. So then I got one, which is cool. And then I ripped apart my knitting room trying to find the other, and I couldn't find it. So I don't know if it fell out of my bag or what, but it's gone. So then I had to buy another one. So now I can do 2 circs. with zeros. I like to have the option of that sort of thing, so I have 2 circs and 1 zeros and 1.5. I don't think I have 2s, or I was using. I don't. I don't know whether or not I thought my nitpicks were 3s, so maybe they're actually 2s. In which case, I was sort of random about what needles I was using for my sweater, but. So I don't think I have 2s, but I'm a loose enough knitter that it seems like zeros are coming in as the right size for socks, so it's good to have this. And I find it good to support my local yarn store. I don't tend to buy a lot of yarn there, but I do tend to buy most of my tools there, so that is cool. And that wraps it up in terms of this, which is I don't think I had talked about when I decided. So I have a book open in front of me. Oh, I do have another stash edition. So when I this weekend there was a rock climbing competition, so we ended up driving 2 hours south to go to that. My husband ended up winning. I ended up competing in the intermediate category and won no prizes. But we ended up convincing my in-laws to also come out. So it was the case where my father-in-law, one of his climbing friends, and my mother-in-law came out to visit us as well. And so then my father-in-law and his friend ended up competing in the competition. They didn't win anything either. And then my mother-in-law came bearing gifts, and one of these gifts was felting. So this is a Vogue knitting book, or it's called Felting on the Go. What is this from? Probably. Okay. My guess was wrong. This is a book from 2005. I'm not sure I'm going to make anything with it. And I told her that it was the case where she went to the Ohio Knitting Guild retreat or something like that, and then this was on the book as a freebie, and she's like, well, no one's taking it. I guess I can take it. So I'm probably going to random act of kindness to someone, because I'm really not sure what to do. Or I'm not really into felting, so. And then they have a bunch of different sorts of projects to do with it. So a snake, a shoulder bag, a pillow, an embroidered bag, filled pillow, beret, bucket bag, women's mittens, kid slippers, baby jacket, plaid bag, self-fringed scarf, Farrell hat, baby blocks, baby blanket, snowflake pillow, adult slippers, shoulder bag, tea cozy, and a dog coat. I'm sort of curious what in the world the dog coat looks like. Okay. Apparently this is the dog coat. I hadn't realized it was a dog coat. So it's full of craziness, but I'm really not sure what to do about it. So I'm going to see if anyone in my knitting group is interested in it and go from there. The other book that I have sitting open here is actually this beast, which is The Principles of Knitting by, let's see, June Hermans Hyatt. And the page that I have it open to right now is buttonholes. So the dealio is that on the Himalaya, it called for a certain type of buttonhole, and it called for a 2x2 rib. And I really like sweaters with 1x1 ribs, so then I was looking at this to try to figure out very small, cute little buttons would need very small, cute little buttonholes, and so I think what I'm going to end up doing is looking through everything. I'm going to do the single rib eyelet buttonhole, and this is just a way of making a buttonhole in ribbing that looks invisible, so to speak. So what it would be, and there's like one paragraph on it, which I haven't quite wrapped my head around the directions yet, though maybe it'll make more sense when I go to make buttonholes. So, to make a nearly invisible buttonhole in a single rib fabric, work as follows. With a knit stitch, first on the left needle, work a left decrease followed by a yarn over. Or, with a purl stitch, first on the left needle, work a yarn over followed by a right decrease. In other words, the yarn over replaced the purl stitch, which should be the backing stitch of the decrease, so it is hidden on the inside of the fabric. This recesses the opening between two columns of knit stitches. Pretty cool, huh? So I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. So apparently it's just one little thing, which is on the left needle, work a left decrease. And then your yarn over becomes a purl stitch, so then the little decrease is hidden in the purl. Or your little buttonhole is hidden in the purl. And I think the button called for in the pattern was something where you did decrease, decrease, double yarn over, or something like that, and then you built the purls back up on the yarn over, but that was big, and I wanted to have more density of buttons, so, like, I suppose there reaches a point where it's, like, a ridiculous amount of buttons, so I'm still figuring that one out, but we'll see how it goes. But it seems like that is going to be the right one, and I've so far only opened up this book to the button page, so that's why at this point it just opens there. But there's just all sorts of interesting things in here, so I wanted this as a reference to be like, okay, given this situation and what I really want, what do I really need to do? And there were tons of options for buttonholes, but I think that was the best one for this particular situation. So I will have cute little buttons for my sweater, since I think that will look very lovely. And I still have coffee. It's good. And I guess I've blathered on for quite some time today. I guess moving on to the end of the show, I'd like to encourage anyone who's interested in participating in the Oldest Anything Cal. What would it be? So you just have to pick something that you can justify as old, and what is it? Knit, spin, however you want it for the Cal. Since at this point no one's finished anything, I haven't opened a finished object thread yet, but when someone finishes something, I will. And the only things you need to do are put a picture, a justification of why it's old, and 2 links to the chatter thread. So please comment on other people's projects and encourage people and all that other stuff. And definitely post pictures of your progress. So what I'm going to do today is I'll take a picture of my spinning and then post it in the thread. I think I have a couple backed up pictures because I don't think I posted pictures last week either. So, but feel free to hop in. This is a joint Cal with Emily of the What Just Watchin' podcast, so feel free to also head over to her group and post about what you're working on there as well. And I'd like to welcome anyone who, from Emily's group, who ended up coming over here. So I'm really excited that you've come by. And what would it be? The other thing is that if you have friends who would also be interested in participating in the Cal, the only thing you need to do is be a member of the group. For example, my friend Jen doesn't watch podcasts, but she is planning on knitting with her oldest skein of hand spun. So you don't need to be a podcast watch. You don't have to watch the podcast to participate in the Cal either. All you have to do is be a member of the group. I still have not yet received the prize yarn that I had ordered, which is from Everything Old in the lace weight in the absinthe colorway. This might be due to the mail in Canada being slow. But I'll definitely show you guys when I finally get it. What else? So that was all the Oldest Anything Cal. So I hope you guys participate. I should be recording again next week, so that will be the 15th of April, so don't forget to do your taxes, guys. I have to pay the government money. It's probably a good thing I'm joint filing, because I would have owed the government a lot more money had I not been married. Oh my gosh. It's so weird to make money. So don't forget your taxes, guys. Do it. And is what it's due on the 15th, isn't it? That's tax day, right? I don't know. Let me know. Otherwise, I'm a silly fool. And let's see what else. And hopefully next week I'll have the hallelujah done. And I'll have started my Crazy Pants project. Hopefully it doesn't take that long. I want to be done. I want a sweater. So I had a lot of fun chatting with you today, and I hope you all have a lovely week. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.